Covering the Universal Orlando Resort for over 4 years, you are listening to the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. I am your host Lee and I'm on my own. Tracy is downstairs and Darren is probably at Disney and Hunter, we don't know where he is as usual, but I am not completely on my own. As we've mentioned a few shows back that we were going to do a Producers Club Roundtable special, and the topic of conversation for tonight is going to be about the amount of screen-based attractions at Universal Orlando. I know Tracy and I talked about it quite a lot when we came back in October about how it really sort of smashed us in the face at how many screen-based attractions there are at Universal. We posted the conversation on the Producers Club private Facebook page and it started up quite a decent discussion, and Mr. Craig Lucas suggested that we do it as a show, so here we are, and obviously the man himself is joining me, Diz After Dark's Mr. Craig Lucas. Craig, hello.
Good evening.
Oh, that was quite posh. That was very different from what you were saying 5 minutes ago.
I've been told to watch my P's and Q's.
Also joining us from, actually not too far up the road from me actually, is Martin McVay.
Evening.
Hello Martin. Good evening. And then joining us from across the pond, from Texas I do believe, is Matt Tucker. Hey Matt.
Hey, good afternoon everyone. And
rounding up the four corners of the round, that doesn't work does it, the four corners of the round table, is the brocat himself, Mr. Tod Eltzroth. Hello Todd.
So much for being careful. Just get back to the bugle. And uh-oh.
The only one to come out with a quote. Right. Now, Craig was trying to wind me up today by posting an article on the Diz After Dark blog. I will urge everyone to go and read it because it was actually quite well written and does sort of echo a lot of my sentiments. Now, as I have said to everybody here, I am here as only a moderator. So I'm going to have to sit here and kind of be quiet and let everyone else sort of take the stage and just make sure that everyone gets their say. But Craig, sort of go over what sentiments you wrote in that article and let's kick it off from there.
Well, basically, I think Universal need to draw the line in the sand and stop doing 3D, 4D, screen-based rides. I think what they've done up to now is fantastic. Gringotts is a bit ropey, but they're all good. Basically, they're all good. But there's more. Jimmy Fallon's coming. Fast and the Furious is coming. At what point do we stop? You've got the classics. You've got the E.T. Adventure. You've got Hollywood's Rip Ride Rocket. Even the poor man's Dumbo. The Hail and Twirl. These are brilliant rides. You're out there. You're in amongst it. You're watching everybody go round. When you've got 3D glasses on and you're inside the building, it's just not the same. So stop.
Well, here's a quick question for you. Do we have any glasses wearers in the house?
Yes.
No.
How do you find, because I know Tracy has a lot of issues with 3D attractions because of having to wear 3D glasses over the top of her normal glasses.
Essentially, I mean, it's not as hard for me as, most people would think. It's just putting them over. I've actually found a way just to put the 3D glasses under the glass whenever they come over the ear. I just tuck them behind the ear, and they're able to stay on just fine. Okay. I haven't had a problem with them.
But you'd have to take those glasses off completely if you're on Rip Ride Rocket. So,
right.
Do you need 3D glasses on Rip Ride Rocket?
No, but my glasses to actually see, I have to take them off for Rip Ride Rocket. That's what Todd said.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Don't you find those 3D glasses are just minty? Should you not just pick up your own pair of 3D glasses at the start of the day in the park because they're minging?
Have like a magic band system, except they're 3D glasses instead.
I mean, it does present its own set of crappy problems with, the glasses and going indoor for the screens. I mean, it's just definitely not the same as riding the Hulk or anything outdoor.
Martin, what's your take on all of this?
Exactly that. The glasses, the idea is the amount of times they're being worn by other people just doesn't really kind of appeal to me. And I think Tracy's mentioned that a few times in the past as well. But in reality, having the whole kind of glasses on entrance isn't really going to work. I would say you'll have people put them in their pockets, and then if anything, it'll start charging you every time you come in for them, a little bit like going to the audience cinema.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. I've got 248 pairs of Odeon glasses in a drawer in the bottom cupboard there.
They're different glasses though, Clegg.
Well, so you can never find them when you go to the cinema.
If you just unify the 3D system within the parks, I wouldn't have a problem with paying $2 for a pair of glasses.
Well, does anybody know how they actually clean them?
Probably spit on them and just wipe them on the t-shirt.
Do they clean them?
That's what I do. I do a big grab on it and then just clean them with my shirt, my sweaty shirt.
Craig, I'm not being funny, but can you do me a favour and speak English? Because there's words you're using that I don't even know at the moment.
There's spit in it. They're covered in everything. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. You're going indoors, you're going into nice air conditioning, you're going out the sun. I'm all for screen-based rides. Am I contradicting myself now?
Just a touch.
Nah.
No, because it's a difficult thing to say, is it? Because the thing is, you look at something like Forbidden Journey and Gringotts, which are like the two sort of newer ones, and how else could you do that?
But I was thinking of that before. In reality, if you wanted that as a traditional coaster, just think how big it's going to have to be, because the idea of the screens is it gives you the feeling that you're flying through, and how long is that going to have to be, and it's kind of the space that Universal's got. It's not an option, so they're kind of trying to give us this full immersive experience of being in the films. So they can't take us to Alnwick Castle where Quidditch the Quidditch scene was filmed. So they've got to try and do that the best they can, and the only way to portray that is through a screen, really.
Yeah, and they've backed themselves into a corner because they're running. This sounds weird to say, but they're running out of variety. And I mean, when the Hulk went down, you saw that, because the screen-based rides came to the forefront. That's all there is to do.
Yeah.
When Hulk went down, it was, all that was prevalent.
But Islands of Adventure is a far better park for the lack of 3D screens. You've got the Spider-Man, which is my favourite ride in the whole of Florida, and you've got the Hogwarts one, but the rest of them are all experiences. Cat in the Hat, it needs a bit of love, but ultimately it's a brilliant little ride.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One of my favorites, really.
Yeah.
But they backed themselves into a corner because Spider-Man was so good. We were...
Yes, and I think that was the
so
problem.
We were there in 99, we rode it. I thought that was the best ride, that I've ever ridden, but they themed it well. And they had all kinds of different special effects in it.
Still.
And then they took a step backwards when Transformers came on board, because it doesn't work as well as Spider-Man. It doesn't have the same theming. It goes from... It's a monitor-based ride, if you ask me, because it starts out with a small monitor where Sonia Bradley's telling the story, and then a medium monitor where the Colonel's talking about Nest, and then this large monitor where the Autobot is, giving you more instructions, and then you go to the giant screens. It's like a walk-through monitor base to the giant screen, and it didn't come off as well as Spider-Man at all, I don't think.
Transformers is the one that I think kind of drives at the reason why Universal are doing as much as they are with screen-based attractions. Because I remember when we spoke to Brent Young about the Madagascar ride that his company made for Universal Singapore, and he told us on that show that originally the Optimus Prime that rolls up and transforms and talks to you right at the end was an animatronic, and they built it. But because it was so temperamental, like the Yeti in Expedition Everest, they decided that with that being the finale screen, that if it didn't work, it was the last thing you would remember about that ride and come out sort of, it didn't work the last bit. Whereas if they put a screen in, that will work pretty much every time.
See, and that's also some of my problems too. If you're looking at a more physical set, is whenever I'm going through a ride with a physical set and there's something that isn't working, it takes away from the experience. But if you have something that's more reliable, like a screen, then you're less likely to have people visiting the park that come out and have a bad experience because of that.
I think if people think about Everest, the first thing that comes to mind is a Yeti that doesn't work. And I think Universal are trying to stay away from that. As much as the ride might be great, and I'll be honest, I've never rode it and all, and I've never, it's the case of actually, all I know is when someone says to Everest to me, I say, the Yeti doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah. That's a really good point, actually, and it wouldn't surprise me. Universal, I think, are very much that company that'll sit back and watch what Disney do, and then go, right, we don't want to make the same mistakes.
But then in October I goes on the Minions, and we sat down and were strapped in, and I said to Stuart, that screen's not right here, and the 3D was out of sync. And it took them 40 minutes, and they wouldn't let us out. And if the staff, they were brilliant. It was all, put your hands up if you know Gru's middle name. What colour are the minions? They had a minion quiz, and in the end, people were crying, just let me out. And then they rejigged it, 40 minutes to reset everything, and it got it going again.
That's because you sobered up, Craig.
Well, yeah. But, so 3D isn't infallible either. It can still go off its head when it goes wrong. Probably one of them in the booth upstairs would put a cup of tea on there on one of the projectors.
I guess the difference would be if something went wrong with the physical set, though, it might take a little bit more work to try to fix it. Because if it's something that physically happened wrong with that product, you're going to have to spend a lot of time fixing that and even resources. Whereas a screen-based attraction, you just have to sync it back up. That's also comes into the refurbishing, right? I don't know what you call it. Basically making right. So like the Jurassic Park ride recently, they did a refurb of it and they made all of it better, but they had to pay for that. Something with a screen-based attraction, though, you don't have to worry about those physical sets wearing down over time. It's something that you can update without having to spend as much resources on it.
I think they also, and I agree with that. I think they also suffer from. I mean, our screen-based ride's terrible because of a poor script. And I was thinking about all the different screen-based rides. If it has a good script, and it like Spider-Man, I think has a great script, and so and the special effects added in there, it all goes together. But if there's a poor script, you can't hide that. I think about Hogwarts Express and the script that's on there. It's not necessarily a screen-based ride in a way, but you get on that and you think sometimes who wrote the script? It could have been so much better. So I think sometimes the screen-based rides suffer because the script is terrible, and then that makes all the other flaws come out.
Right. I think that also shows in Shrek as well, because they also released that same exact DVD separately. The DVD that you watch in the ride.
Yeah. So go for £3, yeah.
Just linking back to the refurb bit, actually, if you think about it, if you compare a screen-based attraction to like what you were saying there around the physical kind of outdoor coaster, would you ever see a screen-based attraction down for refurb as long as what we're seeing Hulk down for at the minute? Probably not. I mean, although that's kind of going to the extremes, they've literally tore it all down and rebuilding it, and that just kind of shows the work that has to go in to maintain those.
I've been trying to think how long it was when Spider-Man went down when they did the refurb on that. That was quite a while.
Look at Soarin'. Soarin's gone down now, and it's not back up until June, is it? So, and that's just getting a new screen and a new story.
Basically, and how bad do you think that hurts them? I mean, for Soarin' to go down, like does that hurt them?
I think it hurts Epcot massively with Soarin' being down.
Definitely. When I was there in October doing Hashtag 4 parks one day. Find it in the Diz After Dark feed.
Shameless.
I warned you. I'll give you one. I'll give you
when
one.
we were there, Epcot was our first, and Test Track was our first ride. We ran to that, and when we got back to Soarin' to do our fast pass, it was already at 90 minutes, and the park had only been open 30 minutes. It was epic, the queue.
But then it could be one of those things like Minion Mayhem. The queues for that are always horrendous. It's not because it's good, it's not anything particular. It's just purely because it's such a bad load, and I think Soarin's the same.
Which is why they're building the other screen for it, because they've acknowledged that, haven't they? They've kind of said we need to book our ideas up a bit here.
I wonder what they're going to do for Jimmy Fallon if it's going to be a Soarin'-like attraction, how they're going to manage the people going in and how many people it can hold at once.
It's not a huge building either.
I'm hearing different things for this Fallon, that it's going to be a theatre, that it's going to be a Soarin' event. I just don't know what to expect.
Well, I heard from a team member in October, and not just your average sort of ride-up that's like, hey, have you heard they're building this and this is what it's going to be? It was someone we're friends
from
with.
Wales?
He said... I said I gave you one. And he said it was going to be a Kuka arm type thing.
Is that...
So, but again, everyone's speculating. It's like Craig automatically lumped Fallon in at the beginning and Fast and Furious. We don't know that they're going to be screen-based attractions. We're all expecting it because that's just the way it's going, but we don't know that. Like Kong's another one. Everyone's kind of expecting that to be, but we don't know.
I mean, the theming, though, you've got to kind of think in reality, Fast and Furious, unless we're actually going to get in a car and go down a quarter-mile strip, there's not much else they can kind of do from what they're choosing at the minute, you know.
I mean, that's a big building they're putting Fast and Furious in. What?
Giant.
Especially if you look, because they're knocking down Beetlejuice as well, so it's that whole Disaster building, plus all that area between Disaster and Beetlejuice, and the Beetlejuice stage. It's huge.
It makes it hard for me to believe that it's just the tram ride ported over. I think it's something much larger than that.
Well, you heard
Let's hope it's a Test Track style.
Yeah, I was going to say, you heard it here first. If you put they actually put you in cars and send you flying up the road.
See, I still believe that Forbidden Journey is the prime example of how to amalgamate screens and physical sets.
I think Forbidden Journey works great. I mean, it to me, so you have Spider-Man that worked great, and then Transformers that didn't come over so well. Then you got Forbidden Journey that works great because of the entrance, the theming. I mean, the Kuka arm's great. And the whole entrance and the queue area there, I mean, it immerses you in the whole experience. And then Gringotts comes along. And I don't think Gringotts is as good as Forbidden Journey. I mean, it's debatable, but I mean, it's an elaborate queue. When you walk in, it's fantastic. But I think it suffers somehow from theming. It's like Diagon Alley is so great and so detailed that you get to Gringotts and it's kind of a letdown at the end in some way. No, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, in my personal opinion, I liked Gringotts a little bit more. I think it was because it had more of a ride type element, you know, sort of bringing in the Mummy a little bit more than Forbidden Journey. And I think what helped for me was the queue and how they did have those physical sets in the queue when you're walking through the room with the goblins writing down and the banker, and then you go down the stairs, and then you also have the elevator with the moving platform. I think that all helped tie in more physical sets, almost like in Forbidden Journey. But it's just before you actually get on the ride.
But don't you think they ran out of money after you've had the bank scene and you go into the corridor at the back where they make you have a photograph whether you want it or not?
Oh no, you can say no to them, but
of course, it's bland.
I agree with you, Craig. I think they spent a lot of money on the main hall, which is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and then the actual,
I mean, spectacular. Yeah,
and then the load station, I think, is fantastic as well. But in between it, there's not an awful lot there.
Do you think
So
that's
does
because
it-
they've got nothing to compare it to in the films, where in reality in the banquet hall they were thinking, look, we've got a scene to set here, we can do that, we can nail it, but actually in the films we never really see a corridor them walking down the back of, so they've probably thought, let's just kind of not make it up, but we don't have to. They've almost become lazy around it, thinking, well, nobody, when they're going down, they're not going to be comparing this to a film, so they thought we can just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought J.K. Rowling came in to help design at least the queue. I could be wrong, though.
So I think, once again, it suffers from a poor script. I mean, Gringotts physically is phenomenal, I mean, to look at, but I think, it comes down to the scripting, and if that doesn't hold you, and I mean, they've got a lot of great things in it, but, if I had my choice, I would choose Forbidden Journey because it seemed like it's scripted better, somehow.
Which is funny because everyone said that Gringotts it's more a self-contained story that could have possibly took place during the actual scenes in the books and the films, whereas Forbidden Journeys, as Hunter always says quite a lot, is just a greatest hits. It's like, right, people are going to ride and we need to see Dementors and the Whomping Willow and a dragon and spiders.
That's the thing that pulls me out for Forbidden Journey. I know we're going off topic here for screen-based rides, but...
No, I think it's relevant.
It's set in the time zone of the fourth book, or the fourth book, which is the Goblet of Fire.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, so at what point in the Goblet of Fire did Dumbledore open up the gate to the castle to all the Muggles to come in for the tour?
And you've got to take some suspension of disbelief, but Dementors didn't come in until book 5, didn't? Oh no, they came in 3, didn't they?
Yeah, but so, whereas Gringotts, I think, you're just, while the film is going on, you're just round the corner. You just miss, you could almost be still in the film there, the way it's tied together.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant how they did Gringotts as far as like trying to tie it in, because the whole thing with the Universal is that you are a part of the movie. Yes. And with Gringotts, the way that they wrote the script is that you are in the movie, and this is happening while this other stuff is going on.
Yeah, totally.
And the thing, my problem, I think my only problem that I've really had with Forbidden Journey is there is a lot of stuff packed into that ride. So, like you said, it's a greatest hits ride, but I feel like there's a lot going on at once.
But then the problem is, if you space it out, then you have sort of boring sections. At the end of the day, Universal pride themselves on having action-packed rides, and that's what you want. You want to be bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, I guess, but I guess it's just the storyline that I'm thinking of.
It doesn't have one.
Right, exactly. And whereas Gringotts does have a storyline that you can follow.
I have one problem with the script for Gringotts. Because as you see Harry, Hermione and Ron go past, they shout to Bill, "We've got the Horcrux!" Right, no one else knows about the Horcruxes other than them 3. And Dumbledore, and he's dead. And Voldemort. True. So, anyway.
Good point, I like that.
So are our expectations for like outdoor roller coasters all the time now? Are we saying that if Universal builds another screen-based ride, we're going to revolt? No,
for me personally, it doesn't have to be coasters. You've got the Haunted Mansion down the road in the Magic Kingdom. That ride is my favourite Disney ride. It's probably my favourite ride in the whole of the world. And it's nothing. It's just a few animatronics and a mirror here and there. So you've got a back catalogue of Universal monsters and mummies and werewolves and Dracula and everything. Where's their Haunted Mansion?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Haunted Mansion, though, is that's a huge building that's in, if I'm correct. Whereas where the places that Universal are building these rides, these screen-based attractions, are smaller buildings. They can't fit anything larger in, and they're trying to fit within this allocated space. Now, given they did buy that Lockheed Martin land, which is massive, but with what they're currently working with, they're trying to fit these rides into smaller places, and the best way for them to utilize that space is by using screen-based attractions.
Yeah, unless they pull other stuff down. I think if you look at something like Poseidon's Fury, that show building is massive. But then also, if you think back to what Sandra said last week, that Lockheed Martin land could be used for back of the house stuff from Universal Orlando.
And
that
still
would then
fit
give
a theme
them
park in.
more space in those parks.
On that land, when that was announced, I kind of initially was like, oh, they finally accepted that. Do you know what, screen-based attractions are kind of had their day and what have you. But then, listen to the past shows and things, and you kind of think, right, is that going to be Nintendo or whatever? Yeah. But with Nintendo, I can't see anything but screen-based attractions.
No.
And that's kind of, I'm thinking they're going, well, are they going to make a full park? Then it's going to be, how can they make it good enough to do the Nintendo brand justice, then rather than just have a coaster or a static ride that is just got a few mushrooms and Mario blocks stuck around for theming, rather than this is a Mario ride or another Nintendo character.
I mean, I think we need to take a look at it from a bigger picture as well. I said I wasn't going to talk much on this. I can't help it. And it's not just Universal that's doing it. I mean, you only have to look down the road at what Disney are doing. And like Craig said, Soarin's getting a new film. You got Toy Story Mania, Star Tours, Ratatouille that's just been opened in Disneyland Paris. They're going down the same route to a certain extent.
I would imagine any of the new Star Wars stuff that is going to potentially be theme-based.
So do you think Universal has learned from the screen-based stuff they put up? Do you think their creatives are thinking, we need to get away from that? I mean, I'm just wondering what Reign of Kong is going to be. Is it going to be more screen-based? It sounds like it's going to be a mixture of everything, but I'm just curious to see where they're headed in the future with this. Because apparently, I mean, it is cheaper, I guess, to put together maybe a screen-based attraction than it is, otherwise. But I'm just anxious to see where they're going to go with it.
I was just about to raise that. Is in terms of Universal around costing, in their view of trying to steal the march on Disney, is it a case of, right, actually we can release 5 years worth of rides in 5 screen-based attractions will cost the same as, one big attraction, which is what Disney's looking to do, which it's not going to get released till when's Avatar 2046 or something like that.
God knows.
So in terms of their thinking, they can come to the headline saying we've released a new ride every year, which in reality is going to increase ticket sales because we all want to. I'm sure I can't wait for Conk to ride when I go in August. That'll be one of the first rides I'm on because it's new, rather than I've rode that one before and before and before, where actually if they throw a new ride at you again every time, you're still going to go and see it because you've got expectations of what Universal can do.
That's a really good point, actually.
I think so. I mean, that's what I expect. I mean, we're headed back on Labor Day. We'll stay at Sapphire Falls and try that out. And I'm hoping Hulk's back up. I'm hoping Reign of Kong will be done by then. But I took my son when everybody was at the park, Lee, when you were there on vacation and all that. My son was there, and I just kind of did a test to see what he liked. And of course, the only great roller coasters were Rip Ride Rocket and of course Dueling Dragons or whatever they're called now. And time after time, this 24-year-old didn't want to go back and ride Gringotts or Forbidden Journey. He was wanting Dueling Dragons or Rip Ride Rocket. What do you want to do? I'd say. He'd say, let's go ride that. And I thought maybe he'd pick something else, but I think there's still a definite need for and this desire for roller coasters and the excitement that goes with that. Because, I mean, because I got on here this afternoon and I watched all the screen-based stuff on YouTube. You can watch Spider-Man, you can watch Transformers, but you can't get the Hulk experience sitting in front of your computer.
That's a very good point. Right, I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and debate this some more. Ladies and gentlemen, the 8th wonder of the world is returning to Universal Orlando Resort. So let our friends at Fairy Godmother Travel take care of the resort reservation. They are a Universal Parks and Resorts specialist, as well as being an authorised Disney vacation planner, and their service is free to you. From the awesome Cabana Bay Hotel to those other hotels run by a mouse, Fairy Godmother Travel can book all your Orlando vacation needs, so you don't need to miss the chance to see the amazing King Kong in the flesh. And please make sure to let them know that you heard about Fairy Godmother Travel because of UUOP. Because every UUOP referral helps us to continue to bring you the greatest Universal coverage. Contact them today by phone at 832-284-4002 or toll free at 888-939-642539 or go to fairygodmothertravel.com.
Let Fairy Godmother Travel make your next vacation magical.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Producers Club roundtable discussion about screen-based attractions, and I think Todd was going to make another point as I cut him off at the end.
No, I was just going to say my son loved he loves the outdoor roller coasters over screen-based. I think he would pick those every time.
Well, I don't think
that's not the only demographic.
I don't think you get a bad seat. You don't get a bad view when you're on a coaster. Whatever seat you sit in, you're going to get a good ride. You can go on the Men in Black and sit anywhere in the 4 seats or 6 seats, whatever it is, and you get a good ride. But you sit in the wrong place on a 3D attraction, and it's a little bit out, and that whole ride is just gone. It's a write-off.
Yeah,
you can't. Go on.
I was going to say that's a very good point, because whenever I went back in October last year, I rode the Simpsons ride. I only rode it the first time I went to Universal, and then I rode it again this next time. And we got the seats on the very like front and to all the way to the right, and it looked awful. It was an awful experience, and just going off what you're saying, something like Rip Ride Rocket or Men in Black, you're not going to have a bad seat, but you have to have that sweet spot if you're looking at 3D attractions or 4D attractions.
You think to when Gringotts first opened and everyone was out there saying, right, you need to ride, make sure when you go and ride it, it's row 3. You need to ride in row 3. And we rode it front, back and row 3, and row 3 was without doubt the best one as far as the screens go.
I mean, if you talk about the coasters and things like that, in reality, everyone who goes to theme parks, well, not everybody, but the majority of people who go to theme parks are thrill seekers and want a bit of a rush. And I think you can't beat, going up a chain lift and coming back down at 40, 50 miles an hour with the wind rushing through your hair.
I agree.
As much as you can talk screen-based, you can talk coasters, there's something special about going up that hill, sitting, looking at the top and just thinking, right, here we go. The adrenaline goes. And I think on a screen-based attraction, it's just you enjoy it while it's happening, but there's not the anticipation of doing it, and I think that adds to the kind of the flavour of a coaster or an outdoor-based attraction because you can see everybody around you.
If it has a chance to make me throw up, then I want to get out.
You can do that on Forbidden Journey. Let me throw this at you then, right? The thing with Universal is their whole mantra at the moment is to immerse you in whatever it is. It's the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, it's Transformers, it's Simpsons. You can't do that on a roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. That's why I kind of said it from the outset.
Why not?
Well, if you look at the idea of the screen, let's say, for example, on Forbidden Journey, when you're on the broom and you're flying, and the idea of the screen going past you gives that image of you're going faster and things like that, where because it's you are probably that close to the ground, it's going to just whoosh past you and you're just not really going to see it or kind of feel it because it's gone in 30 seconds, where on a screen you've got that time to absorb it and kind of think, look, I'm flying over the sea or about to go over Gringotts.
And I feel that, like Forbidden Journey, I feel that, but I don't on Gringotts for some. I mean, a little bit, but there's something about, like I said, the script or the how they do the screen base that you are immersed. I mean, and I guess some of it is better than others.
So yeah, just one of the things you mentioned earlier too is that are you asking if Universal is learning from what they're doing currently? And I think the best thing that Universal has ever done is include Harry Potter, because you have people that have never been to Universal before that are starting to hear about Harry Potter World. And I've even talked to some people like, oh, Harry Potter World, that's at Disney, right? And then they go and they look it up and like, wait, Universal actually has things. So Harry Potter was one of the big things that started bringing people into Universal, and the experiences like Forbidden Journey and like Gringotts has brought a lot of traffic in. I think they're going to continue to try to do rides like that. So you have Jimmy Fallon coming up, which is arguably the best rated late talk show host on TV. And then you have King Kong coming up, which is a big franchise. then you have Fast and Furious, which is another large franchise. I think they're trying to continue this trend of big franchises that'll bring people in. Because if someone sees a sign and it happens like Fast and Furious, if they see a sign for a Fast and Furious ride and they happen to be a huge fan of all those films, it'll bring them in. But with a coaster that, you might call the Dueling Dragons or Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, people aren't going to notice that on a billboard. People aren't going to be able to associate that with something that they already know and like.
Well, is that because the theming's not good enough?
Well, I think the Hulk does a brilliant story.
It does to a certain point. I think Tim from the E-Ticket Report has argued with us quite a lot that up till the sort of mist tunnel is quite possibly the best sort of 45 seconds on any coaster anywhere. But then once you get out the other side of that tunnel, it's like, it's an afterthought.
Well, at that point, he's lost control and he's transformed. And that's what the roars are as you're going around the coaster. You are the Hulk.
See the team member parking lot and all the rest of it.
I think if you think about it, you could almost use it as an example. Forgive me, I don't know where it's at, but there's the Batman roller coaster and things like that. Is that Six Flags?
Is it over?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
Is it over Texas?
Yes, Six Flags over Texas.
Yeah, I thought it was.
But if you look at that ride, you don't associate that with Batman. But if all of a sudden you've created that into a screen-based attraction of some variety, you would be going through the streets of Gotham, fighting crime, etc., etc. So that would be actually, there's a Batman ride. But the majority of people, if you said, where's the Batman ride or what is it, they would probably say that. But actually, it's a roller coaster, and you can't. It doesn't have that gravitas of drawing people in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
so we go on Dr. Doom's Fearfall, and so we go in, and so it's not bad. It's all right.
No, it's terrible.
So we go in, and so you go through the whole story, and Dr. Doom sucking your brain power to or whatever it is, and so you're immersed in the story, and then so you get on, and it shoots you up in the air, and what do you see? You see the Hulk track laying in a shambles. And then they had a Hulk statue somewhere, and it was sitting down by a garage in the front. And my son pointed that out, So you go from immersed, and when you get in the air, it's hard to stay immersed in the situation.
But that's like that in Disney, isn't it? When you go on any of the high rides, it's themed to death in Disney. As soon as you go above head height, and then all you see is air conditioning. And
I thought, what if Hogwarts took down the screens and just had windows to look out? There goes your theming.
I think looking at it from an American's point of view as well, where we're talking about why Universal aren't looking at coasters so much, is because it's a little bit different over here. But wherever you live in America, you've got a major theme park a stone's throw from where you are.
Yeah, Kings Island just down the street.
Yeah, you can go and hit coasters, but you want to go to Universal or Orlando to Disney or whatever for that next level experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And just I live right by Six Flags over Texas, and they do have the Batman ride and all that stuff. But the biggest ride that they just opened up was Justice League Battle for Metropolis, and that's a screen-based attraction mixed with the Men in Black style and the Toy Story style shooting. And I think they're starting to do that as well, where you're having these big franchises that and the best way to draw someone into that experience is through screens. And something like a coaster, you mentioned that the Hulk did that really well, and it does do it really well. But after the launch, it's a coaster from there on out. There's nothing more added to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where's this Joker animatronics going in?
That's the one, isn't it?
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's a Battle for Metropolis, isn't it, Matt?
The Joker.
That Joker animatronic that they showed off at IAPA last year.
I'm not 100%. I haven't gotten to ride it yet. I'm
sure it is. I'm sure that's what they were promoting it as.
Yeah, but it's a 4D ride. It's a 4D ride, and it's instead of using, at least I believe, instead of using animatronics, they use primarily screens. I'm reading the facts right now, and it says there are a couple of animatronics, but yeah.
I think on coasters, if you start putting animatronics and etc. into them, is the thing. You're then going to go back to what quite a bit what you were talking about the show when you were talking about Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. There's going to have to be a lot of break stops in it because you need to see what the stuff that they've put in there, which then turns it into boring coaster. With,
Right.
You know, you might as well be sitting on a boat on
Thunder
a small
Mountain's got
world.
animatronics in it. Big Thunder Mountain's theme.
I like the
has it?
animatronics. I mean,
It's got goats.
I like it when
Shut
they
up.
try to. I hope they try to make a big King Kong and animatronic, and I hope it breaks down sometimes because that's kind of the fun of it. You know, I miss the old Jaws attractions. I miss because that's what Universal was known for. You had a living, breathing human being trying to stay on script and make it his own or her own, and you know, then you went on the ride, and then you had the animatronic shark. And it might work sometimes, it might not. But when it did, it was great. And that's always in me from when I was little going to Universal. That's what Universal was about. There was a human element.
And when the shark didn't work.
That's why I still like Terminator 3. You know, Terminator, there's a living human being that comes out and they talk to you. So I like that.
And I think that's what Universal and Disney miss more than animatronics is that live actor.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things we were excited about when all the original rumours came out for Skull Island, that we were going to get a team member as like your guide on the front of that truck, and that looks like it's not going to happen.
I think that's what they need for King Kong, though. for Skull Island, is to have that person there. And if they take that person away, I feel like that it's more and more less likely that we're going to have any major physical set in it.
I mean, I'm just thinking about all the money that they're getting from me, all the money that they're going to get from me, because I just want to go and see how it's all going to unfold. I mean, that's worth it to me. The price of admission alone is to just see how Reign of Kong's going to unfold.
That's it. I think the point that got brought up earlier of Universal looking at what Disney doing, and then they've brought nothing new for what was the last ride that opened at Disney that was new, not a refurb.
Was it
Seven Dwarfs?
Mine
Seven
Train.
Dwarfs, yeah.
And when was that?
The Mine Train?
2014, was that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right? So yeah, and then they're not going to
Haven't been
open
there to ride
anything
that
else now till
Ariel.
Oh
opened
yeah,
just before.
about this. Yeah, that was before, though, wasn't it? So what's the next thing that's opening at Disney?
But they, even if they don't open the next thing, they have hooked people on Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, and those classic rides. What has Universal hooked people on? I mean, Harry Potter, I think, is a big part of that. But what else have they hooked people on?
But I then think that speaks to why they're doing what they're doing by bringing out, we've got Kong this year, Jimmy Fallon next year, and then Fast and Furious. They haven't got those properties that are nostalgic for people, so they're just bringing out what's the newest and best and biggest thing.
Haven't they? Universal last year grossed more money than Disney. Brought in more, so they've got this back catalogue. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Where have you got that from?
I've seen a little picture on Twitter.
That must be true then.
I believe it. That's true. I believe
Disney coming third behind Universal and...
What we're talking about, Craig, as a company, the theme parks.
For the money coming in off their movies.
Oh, so Universal and Disney. Yeah, fair enough.
So Universal have got a back catalogue and they have got a history. They just refuse to use it. They're just buying in other people's franchises, as Disney have as well, tit for tat.
That's what's funny, that Universal are doing that, and now Disney, that's the way they feel. They've looked at Universal and gone, well, they're succeeding off it. We need to do that as well.
Avatar was a knee-jerk reaction to Harry Potter. If they'd have known they could have got Star Wars, they would never have bought Avatar.
If we think about it, if let's say Universal turned around and said, like, right, what we're going to do is we're going to stick with our historic properties, so E.T., and all the original kind of properties, I've got no doubt we would be sitting on this producers round table talking about why aren't Universal doing anything new, 100%, because we would have had enough of it. So we would say, where's the new rides? Where's it coming from? What's next? Why haven't it bought?
If they went to Spielberg and said, look, we're going to update E.T., we need you to do a new film, E.T. 2.
He'd do it.
He'd do it.
Yeah.
Without
I think that's a good point. I think the problem, I've said it on this show before, the problem is that when they opened Forbidden Journey, it was groundbreaking. There was nothing else like that anywhere.
Well, there still isn't, is there?
Yeah, and that's true.
But then you look at everything else, it's like, well, Transformers... I personally, I like Transformers more than Spider-Man. Sorry, Todd.
No, go ahead.
And Darren will agree with me as well.
As long as you are, that's fine.
But it's like, I've written it before, it's Spider-Man. Gringotts, you can kind of say, well, it's sort of Spider-Man and it's a little bit The Mummy. And that was the problem, that when Forbidden Journey opened, it was something everyone went, that was absolutely just mind-blowing. Yet you rode Gringotts and you go, oh, I've kind of rode that before.
And that was kind of a problem for Universal, because they have this movie franchise that they can hang all this stuff on, and they can create all these immersive lands from, and then now they say, what's next? What other movie franchise can we create from? And I mean, if you ask me, there's nothing out there right now. I mean, they're trying to do it with Fast and Furious, but...
Well, they've just signed up to 8, 9, and 10, haven't they? They're doing another 3 Fast and Furious films.
One of them's got to be good, somewhere in there.
And they'll be on their electronic carts by soon, ECVs.
The Slow and the Furious.
But don't you think as well, though, if they put in any more Harry Potter, it's dangerous for the long-term future of Universal.
Yeah, how long can it last?
You know, she's written a new stage play for, I think, it's not a musical, is it?
No,
I think it's just a play, isn't it?
Harry Potter and his son, I think it's called.
See, I did warn you.
So it's not I think it's a formula that they're trying to use, you know. Series of hit movies, let's build a land and rides off of it. I don't think you can do that with on and on and on. I think it's a formula that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, being as big a Harry Potter fan as I was, I came back from Universal in October last year, and I said it before, there was a lot went on. My head wasn't in a place that it probably should have been going over there, but I wasn't as overly impressed with it as I probably should have been, and I'd say that was probably my frame of mind at the time.
I wept when I walked into the first Harry Potter. I stripped
naked when I walked.
I did.
I wept when I come off the ride.
I think the only route they can go now, if they want to continue using that franchise, is to go down the route of Fantastic Beasts. So you're going away from England and then bringing in the American side of it.
Yeah, I think instead of building a completely new Harry Potter experience, they should work on building up what they currently have. I mean, you have Fear Factor, that stage right there. Go ahead and extend the Harry Potter experience over there, and the play, they can perform the play there if they really need to, and which is called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. But
basically what I said,
right? But they could have that experience, because they're going to need more shows, because they just took Beetlejuice down. They're going to
desperately need them,
and especially to take people out of the park.
Show?
I think
I adored Beetlejuice.
Oh, it was terrible.
A right Harry Potter show, and if this play ends up getting good reviews, they could do that at that stage area.
Yeah,
but in reality, it is a theme park. How long is a play going to last? Like you're going to pull somebody out of the theme park when they could be spending money in the stores, the souvenir stores, and things like that. So if half an hour max.
I mean, isn't the idea for the stage to try to get people to try to release the lines a little bit so they aren't as long?
Beauty and the Beast is packed out, isn't it?
Festival of Lion King, Finding Nemo the musical.
But for me, I mean, because this play is currently going to be showing in London, right? I'm in the United States. So if they're offering this play at Universal Studios, then it would give me more incentive to go there and see it.
Imagine Star Trek the musical.
Where the hell did that come from?
It's
Star Wars the musical is a thing.
Not as we know it. Fabulous.
I just wonder how late now. If Reign of Kong opens, and then I just wonder how late Burger Digs is going to stay open. If it'll stay open till the end of.
It's not bad in there, actually. We went in there in October.
And it's
quite
great,
good.
But it just all closes down so early because there's nothing at the back of the park, And
it opens late. You can't get breakfast in Universal.
Yeah.
You can. We did a whole show about it.
No, you can't.
You can.
Only if you go into the Hard Rock shop and pay $17 for a bit of cereal.
Yeah, but going back earlier to what we were talking about with 3D attractions and stuff. I think like when 3D attractions first sort of really started to show that they were an up and coming thing, like with Spider-Man and stuff, 3D as a whole was very new, and that's pretty much the only place you could see it. The problem is now the average person can buy a 3D TV and sit and watch a 3D movie in the living room.
It's different 3D though.
It's not a spectacle anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that thing when you went to a theme park. It was like, oh my God, this is something I have never seen before. Now it's like you can go around your mate's house and watch it.
Do you remember the 3D show in Alton Towers where you went in the dome?
No.
You do. And there was
I haven't been to Alton. The first time I went to Alton Towers was only about 12 years ago.
Well, they had a 3D dome and you were in there and there was clowns and you were following a fire engine and there was a ladder coming and it come right out and it nearly like Terminator. Terminator is the best 3D I've ever seen, and that was in the 80s in Alton Towers. You know, remember Friday the 13th, the 3D version, the same. That was a movie where you got your red and your green glasses.
Oh
and
God, yeah.
You put them on in front of the telly, but the 3D actually worked.
Yeah.
I think now it's going backwards. It's more depth. It's all about the depth now. It's not about the coming out the TV screen at you.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, you know, as much as I just mentioned there before about there's nothing as good as getting on a coaster and having the wind rushing through there. There's still nothing as good as I think
That's
when you're
pure,
sitting on when you're sitting on Spider-Man and that flame burst comes out and you nearly take your eyebrows off.
Yeah.
You know, as much as that is kind of screen based as well, if them little bits do kind of.
if they mix it right, if they mix the special effects like Spider-Man, I mean, just the script was good. Everything's good about that. I think they hit it with Forbidden Journey, but whether that'll happen in the future or not, I don't know. The jury's still out.
It's lightning in a bottle, and they've managed to capture it a couple of times. And
there's only so many times it can hit the target.
Yeah. I mean, I've said as well, I don't find the 3D very good in the new digital 4K projection. I think if you look at something like Terminator 2 3D, which is still, I think it might have actually just gone digital, but as it was before with the old, like the film projection, the 3D looked 3D stuff.
Yeah.
Came out the screen and it looked like it was in your face. I don't find that with the 4K digital stuff.
So what about Terminator? I mean, so to me, I still like that. And here's why. Because you've got human interaction. You've got somebody up there trying to bring people in. You've got the robots coming up. You've got the motorcycle action. You've got the giant screen. And to me, for one time in that park, probably the only time for me that 3D works is when that liquefied metal claw is coming out to your eyeball.
Yeah.
And whether it comes or goes, it stays for 5 more years or whatever. To me, those are all the elements that you have to have to make a screen base work.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a combination of everything.
But they stole it off Muppet Vision 3D because it's exactly the same story.
Right. When did Muppet? I'm gonna find out now because I want to know which one opened first.
But if you think about that, and Universal are aware of that as well, because if you ever look at any of the magazines or the Holder magazines, the majority of kind of pictures of Universal is that picture of the claw coming out the TV at Terminator. That's kind of their picture as saying, actually, do you know what? The movies are coming out to touch you here, rather than you're just going to ride through the movies.
Yeah, I really like the way that they did Forbidden Journey, though. I mean, it's not 3D yet, but it's still an immersive experience. And the way that I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I was able to notice it like after the third time I wrote it, is as you're riding by the screens, the perspective of the screens change. So it'll still give you that depth and at least a 3D effect. Even though it's not popping out, it still gives depth to the picture. And I thought they did that perfectly, and you don't have to worry about getting 3D glasses on people and the 3D glasses falling off because those arms throw you around a lot on that ride.
Yeah, and it's surprising that how much a screen, because we've been on it when the screens have stopped working, and as a lot of them went like that swooping effect across the lake at the end, your Cougar arm's barely moving. Yeah, it gets my stomach every time.
I come off that ride green, literally, and the Simpsons, them two rides turn me green.
Simpsons, I've vowed never to ride it again after the first time I rode it. It just knocked me sick.
Now that's a good point to bring up, that a lot of people have trouble. Sorry, Todd. A lot of people have trouble with screen-based attractions, and if with that motion sickness, and if you have a park that's predominantly that, then a lot of people are going to go, well, I can't go because I can't ride those rides.
Yeah. Well, like my sister, she gets motion sick really easily, so she couldn't ride the Simpsons or some of those other major attractions, but she was able to ride, surprisingly, Forbidden Journey. There was something about the 3D that would make her sick.
Well,
now how do we feel about Forbidden Journey becoming 3D? Because it's it is in Japan. When the one in Hollywood opens, that's going to be. So I think it's an absolute given that they're going to retrofit into
definitely.
I don't know. I mean, for me, and I think you've got all different age levels, and I mean, my experience has been over 20 some years through Universal. And my perspective is I'm happy just walking through the queue of the ride sometimes to look at all the detail. I mean, I'm a photographer. I like to go in and get different angles and things like that. So there's so much more to it for me than just the actual ride. And maybe that's that way for a lot of people. I don't know.
I was just going to say, I think what you've got to think is, does 3D make it better? And that's the thing we don't know, because as far as I'm aware, none of those are open yet. So really what they should probably do is hang fire. Is that made it a better experience? If it has, brilliant, stick it in Orlando. If not, well, Hollywood's got it, and and that's where it's staying. But screen-based attractions is one thing, but actually, is 3D actually better? We don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it was just something refreshing going into Forbidden Journey and not having to put on glasses, but still having that screen experience.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to look at someone like Darren, who's been going to those parks since he was a kid. He was there pretty much from, I think his first time he visited was 1993. Yet his favourite attraction's Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
A screen-based attraction.
Yeah, that was my first.
But then you look at someone like Thomas, who's been going from the very beginning, and obviously Jaws is his.
Back to the Future was for me.
Oh, I thought it was terrible, but anyway.
I mean, and they can't go back to those rides now, which is you can still go back to Haunted Mansion, you can still go back to Pirates of the Caribbean, but did they cut off their hand to spite their face when they? I mean, Harry Potter's great, and I know there were problems with Jaws, but I think to develop a faithful fan base over time where people bring their kids back, you do have to have those rides that are classic. And I don't know yet. I mean, the jury's still out on whether the screen-based attractions are going to do that.
I think the fact that they got rid of Jaws to open diagonally, I think screams of why they're doing it. Because
money.
Jaws was famously very, very expensive to run.
Don't you think, though, the next stage, the next evolution in theme parks is VR?
Well, there's another inch, because that again is screen-based. You look at they're doing it with Air, they're changing it into Galactica at Alton Towers.
Now, you put yourself into a chair, which does all the movements. You put one of these things on your head, and you can go and ride Jaws again. You can go on Back to the Future.
That's just very unsettling for me, because I like the experience of actually moving, from one place to another. Whereas it does not feel the same if you put on VR headset and you get into this machine, even if it is 360. It's still not the same experience because you're not going from point A to point B.
You can't throw a quarter off the virtual reality. I'm just kidding. You can't lose your phone out there. No.
We are getting to the end of this, so I just want to get everyone to wrap up their final thoughts, because it's actually been really good. I think this is something we're going to add to the Producers Club. But final thoughts, guys. Craig?
Stop now. Plus by all means, plus what you've got, because Spider-Man for me is perfection in the genre. It cannot be beaten. So stop now and let's just take your time out.
Todd?
They're a mixture of good and evil. They're always going to be with us. They'll do more in the future, and I'm anxious to see what they're going to have. So love them or hate them, they're going to be with us.
Martin?
Likewise, I think, we haven't seen the end of them. There will be more. But in reality, I think they just need to be very, very careful. Otherwise, they're going to turn a lot of people off the parks.
And Matt?
Yeah, I think they're going in good directions right now. They just need to make sure that they do not mess it up. They have a lot of good stuff going for them, but that if they have very little physical sets in King Kong, then it can really mess them up. They need to include physical sets in some way. If they have screens, that's great. That's awesome. But they need to have some sort of physical aspect to it and make sure the storyline is good.
Yeah, great point. I think if they look at Forbidden Journey as the template and go from there, and Spider-Man, I think they won't go wrong. But it's interesting. Right, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I've actually really enjoyed this.
Oh, thank you, Lee. I've enjoyed it too.
No, it's been good.
Yeah, thank you.
Craig?
It's a privilege. I've loved it.
I'm glad you suggested it, Craig, because it has been excellent.
Way to go, Craig.
Oh, stop it.
Go on, say it. Go on. The saviour of podcasts.
I am the saviour of podcasts.
I'll give you that there. Go on, if you want to hear Craig not be as talkative as he has been tonight, go and listen to Diz After Dark, where he just sits there and says 2 words every 5 minutes.
And everybody behaved themselves.
I was going to say, and probably a lot less PC as well over there.
Yeah. But no, I'm trying something new out this week, right? So, if you want to get involved in the conversation, obviously you can message us on Twitter or email us or go to the Facebook page, comment on the show notes there, and let's continue this conversation, because I think it's something we could have carried on for another hour talking about it tonight.
True.
It's a very interesting topic. So, cool. Right. So for Craig, Todd, Martin and Matt, I have been Lee, and this has been the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast.
That's it for another Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on iTunes, and while you're there, please leave us a rating and a review. Listen to us on Stitcher, Google Play, and all your podcast apps. Email us with any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com, or even better, record your message at speakpipe.com/uuopodcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Check out our blog for even more content at uuopodcast.com. And finally, our sponsors, Fairy Godmother Travel, are here to help with all your Universal vacation needs. So check them out today at fairygodmothertravel.com. Well, that's a wrap. See you next week.